Pornography is not just like a bad habit. Like biting my nails is a bad habit, but biting my nails doesn't rob me of my social life, my self-esteem. It doesn't destroy my family and my motivation. Pornography was more than just this bad habit I was trying to break. It was a consuming, raging fire that was burning down everything around me. So growing up, I grew up in a pretty religious family. We would go to church every Sunday. I didn't have any sort of relationship, at least not in a profound way, with God. But because I had that upbringing, I knew at the time that pornography was wrong. I knew that it was not acceptable. The first time I looked at it, I was maybe 13. It was through initially a magazine, and there was an article on sex, but it was a very descriptive article of some sexual acts, and it just became something that I needed more. I was telling my mom I need to get on the computer to do a homework assignment when I was getting on to watch pornography, and I would say by the time I was 15, so within 2 years, I knew I had a problem. And then at 16, I got a laptop. It became accessible in a way that was detrimental to me, because pornography allowed me to dehumanize people. It allowed me to see them as objects. Now, if I can see people on a screen as an object, I can see this person that I'm talking with in this chat box as an object. And it got to the point to where I was chatting with strangers online, very sexual conversations, because it was feeding that addiction. I was 15, 16 years old at the time, and these were grown men. It was me talking to men at all hours of the night. It was me having these phone calls and giving out my phone number and having people text me, and then images are showing up on my phone that I'm having to hide, and I just couldn't stop. So by the time I hit 18, it was out of control already. And my parents were aware that something was going on. In fact, at some point they had called me out on it. And I went to my room to go pack my bag, and I was out of there. It was time for me to just take off. And I was ready to run away and leave my home and leave the safety and the love of my family, because I wasn't ready to face what was going on. I eventually came back, and again, they could still see this behavior continuing. At some point, they did find some of these conversations. So they offered to send me to rehab, and I said yes. I was 18, and I said yes. Rehab was a beautiful time, and it was super helpful for me, but ultimately it was not a cure. I spent the next few years trying to figure out what worked and what didn't. So maybe I'd put a filter on my computer, it'd work for a while, and then I would take it off. And then I would try changing my phone number so guys weren't texting me. But then when I relapsed, there was a level of despair that suddenly came over me, because now I was lacking a motivation. I was lacking drive to do anything. At the height of it, I would say I was watching pornography probably up to 13 times a day. I wanted to sit at home all day and watch pornography. And if my parents spent thousands of dollars for me to go to the top facility in the US and they couldn't fix me, they couldn't cure me, that wasn't enough to save me, then I'm truly a lost cause. I felt utterly trapped in pornography. I felt like I was chained down in a way that I would never break free. And that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of it's always gonna be like this, was beginning to weigh very heavy on me. At that point, it felt like the only solution was to just not be alive. So I attempted to take my own life, and I was unconscious for 3 days when they tried to resuscitate me. I don't even know that it was much of a life anymore. It was like a slow death. In fact, pornography couldn't kill me fast enough, I felt. Because I was dead inside. I was dead to other people. Other people were dead to me. And it was like this death that I was walking in constantly and couldn't escape. And the more I sat with it, the more I realized that pornography is life and death for me. And my suicide attempt allowed me to see that. That if this is something so dangerous, that means my recovery, that means seeking help is life and death. Because pornography is life and death for me. I think the suicide attempt was a new beginning in that it brought me this new clarity and this new insight to this pornography addiction. But if I wanted to live, it meant I had to get serious. It meant I had to change everything. I put filters back on my computer. It's like, okay, I need these protectors in place again. I need an accountability partner, that there's someone I can go to right away and say, I slipped up, I messed up, I viewed pornography again. And that accountability helps me to snap out of it. I had to acknowledge that although I believed in God, I thought I was on par with God. And if He's all powerful, and this disease is one that is seemingly all powerful, then I got to put those two head to head, because I'm not all powerful. So I had to surrender. I had to let it go. I had to ask for help from God. That's all I need. I need His strength to sustain me. Everything else, the whole world can come crashing down on me, but if I have God's strength, I know I can make it. And then the other big difference these days is people are people again. Because for so long in my life, people weren't. They weren't my friends. They were acquaintances. These were people I was using or who were using me. I'm a mom. I got babies. I got children that make me want to be a better person. I got a husband that loves me unconditionally. I don't have to run from things anymore. I don't have to hide from things. But there's a freedom now in that I can be utterly transparent. Every day that I wake up, I recognize that today is a new day, and that today, just for today, I'm going to refrain from viewing pornography. Because if I'm taking it one day at a time, I don't have to worry about this pornography addiction going away. I just need to do each day what I need to do to not watch it. And so it has to be a daily battle for me. It has to be something that I am staying vigilant with. Being free from porn feels like I'm alive again, and that everyone else around me is alive as well.